organic here.
Okay,
Very
so
genuine.
yeah, we were just talking about continuing our conversation about the challenges of skating as adults. Sometimes, Derek, we don't always sleep the best, and sometimes we wake up with aches and pains or colds, or in my case, on Friday morning, I did go before work, but my equilibrium was off because I had some sort of an ear thing going on where I was all backed up, and I said, "Oh no, I'm going." Because why, Derek? There was a hockey tournament in the Chicagoland area this entire weekend, and there was going to be no ice available. And I knew that if I didn't go Friday, I would be in a bad mood all weekend because weekends are when I'm guaranteed I could skate. And knowing that there would be no ice available, I was like, come ear, pain, or high water, I'm going to go on that ice.
I
So,
definitely think that it's so therapeutic, and if you are able to get it in, you're going to feel so much better. Everything's going to be better if you get skating in. But it is hard. I've often thought about how can I get the rinks here to let me have my own ice time. And I know that it can happen. From what I understand, it is possible, but I think it's very expensive.
pay
I
it.
just skate later at night after the rinks have closed. I would rather skate then than the early mornings. Ideally, I would skate between 11 and 2. That would be the ideal perfect time.
Yeah.
If I really need to get a lot of practice in, I would rather do it at night than in the morning.
So, just for our listeners,
Yes.
we are very much the same
We
person.
are the same. You are my yin and I am your yang.
If you really, the thing is, we've never physically met. And I
We have
don't know if
not.
we touched on
It is
that
a
last
crazy
episode,
phenomena.
but we have so many parallels and similarities. I am a morning person, and you are a night owl.
Very much. Who
But touch hoot hoot
the owls make? Or is it
is,
who?
yes, it is the sound that owls make.
I feel like I say that to
They,
my kids sometimes. They're like, "What are you talking about?" Just who?
oh, or is it who? I don't know. You're the speech language pathologist.
I'm not an expert in animal sounds.
Speak owl, Derek?
I said I'm not an expert in. I do not speak owl. I recently watched some documentaries about owls. They're fascinating birds. They really
They
are.
can turn their neck all the way around.
Their ability here is ridiculous. They're able to like actually, especially the snow ones, they're actually able to, I mean, from a very far distance, hear something that is underground and there's a lot of
Wow.
snow. So they actually, and it's like echolocation, sort of kind of like bats. They will go
Mhm.
directly to the prey, go under the snow and grab it every single time. It's crazy because they heard it.
That is,
They actually
that's
heard the animal moving.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, owls are predators, but that's not what we're talking about tonight.
But Derek, that's just one of the great examples of our tangents that we get off.
Of those with ADD who love to figure skate.
But Derek, I can connect that to figure skating.
What ADD?
Owls, owls are
Owls?
as fierce. Follow me here. Owls are as fierce of hunters as adult skaters are as people. We are fierce.
Yes.
We are fierce badasses to juggle all of our adult responsibilities, whether it be professional or church or kids or all of the things that pull at us, carving out that important, necessary self-care time, you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah, it is so important. And very few employers actually, if you do work for somebody, will actually understand that you need that time and allow you that time. Most employers I've had would not allow me to just leave for an hour and go skate. I did have two employers though that they both owned this practice and they were both psychologists. They were like, listen, if skating is what's going to help you relax and help you do your work better here, then we are all for it. By all means, go do what you need to do and come back and we'll be great. And they were extremely
Wow.
supportive the entire time about it. I think it's part of just our culture is like work, you have to work until you, it's just, we're very much a work obsessed society. And if you're not working all the time, you're lazy. And then there's a lot of
Yeah.
jealousy, like how dare you go for an hour lunch break or how dare you go skate for an hour, that type of thing. I think that there's a lot of
Yeah.
that. All the more reasons why you should work for yourself.
At my work currently, I have another teacher who's an adult skater as well. And
Oh,
so we actually went to the Jason Brown
oh,
seminar for adult skaters. Her and I both ended up taking a half personal day. I remember us being like, oh, there's not enough subs, but we still have to go see Jason. I think that day we didn't get out of our classrooms on time or something. We were like, we must see Jason and we will see him.
Excuse me.
But yeah, there are lots of challenges that exist. We overcome those challenges because we know it's very important, precious time, and we will feel way better and be more productive and effective in our adult duties and responsibilities if we can get to the rink.
Yeah, I never really talked to people about my challenges with it. And I think had I talked to more people and they were more aware, they would have been more helpful because they would have wanted me to skate. I think they would have wanted to skate and still be able to juggle the career, but I would be able to do it better because I'm doing something that I love for 30 minutes to an hour every day. I wish that that were this philosophy with other employees, but it's really hard to find people that are that willing to just let you go and do that. So it's good for you. If you like early mornings, that's great. You can do it before work. And I think that's what a lot of adult skaters do, or after work. For me, if I were to wait until after work, like after a full day's work, I
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
So that's not going to be great for
Yep.
skating either if you're going nice tired. But you mentioned earlier about injuries and
Mm.
how you're choosing a time because did you say that has something to do with the times that you choose because you want to make sure that you're not going to hurt yourself? What was your point with that piece?
Sometimes I have to juggle the dilemma of do I go and rush onto the ice so that I could get a 20-minute session in? Or do I wait 5 days till the weekend and go to try to skate maybe closer to a full hour and get a proper warm up when
Mm.
I'm more relaxed?
Yeah.
Because in the work week, you have to fit it in around your job. And then on the weekend, we're in a more relaxed state. So that's when you're more likely to condition your body properly because you're not juggling, oh, I have to get back to work or I have to go to work after this. But I think that is a challenge. I know you said you would rather warm up for 15 minutes and then skate for 15 minutes.
If I only had a half an hour and those are the choices, I'd probably stretch and then just have a really good 15-minute session as opposed to
Yeah.
a sucky 30-minute session
Yeah. Yeah.
stretch.
When I go before work, I don't get a really long warm up in. I do try to stretch. One day this week on Friday, I was up super early, stretched at home, and then went to the rink. I was already a little bit more limber and warmed up because I knew once I got there, I had to pretty much get on. That is a challenge because you don't want to hurt yourself. The times where I've rushed on, I have hurt myself. I had a
Yeah.
little twinge of my hip flexor lately, and that was a day I didn't get a proper warm up. It's not even just for me getting to work as the rushing off somewhere. It's like going to a soccer game or shuffling my kids somewhere too. Like even on the weekends, I don't get to relax. This is a
So
busy season.
number three, to sum it all up, I would say my third biggest challenge for skating is I'll
Not
edit
hurting
this.
yourself?
What?
Was it hurting yourself?
No. Oh,
Um,
expectation. I think that some of us, especially if we're starting skating later in life, there is a fear of getting on the ice. It's a challenge because it's overcoming the fear of falling, of overcoming the fear of not being as good as you think you might be. It can be a dangerous sport. You could break a leg, break a hip. You could have a lot of physical injuries. You could have a concussion. None of us want to do that. None of us want to be off work because of a skating injury. And I think it's really none of us will wear helmets. I think I've seen one person in my rink out of all six rinks. There's one older man, he'll wear a helmet and knee pads. I have seen some older women wearing knee pads. I used to wear knee pads. I didn't have a problem with that, but I will never wear a helmet. And I think that's stupid because obviously I'd be more protected. But that's like this thing where you can't wear protective gear when you're skating because it just makes you not look like a skater. But my point is this: I think that for me, I truly believe that I was going to advance very quickly. I really did because I loved it so much. I thought that I had this natural inclination and it was just going to just happen. Most of the things that I've really loved in life that I pursued, I put all my time into it, I was able to advance rather quickly in them. But this has not been one of those things. For the first year, I would get really frustrated. I was really hard on myself. And my coach would get mad at me because I was being so hard on myself because I just expected to be able to go to that lesson and master that today. Like whatever that element is, I should be able to do that today. and it wasn't happening. And I was like, I don't understand why I should be able to do this much more easily. And once I accepted that I'm not a prodigy with skating, even though I feel like I should be, but
Mhm.
I'm not. So I accepted that. And then I thought to myself, it's not about comparing myself to other people. I'm really just doing this for the love of skating and for my own health on so many levels, right? It took me about a year to get to that point. When I first started, I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be the best adult male skater there is out there. Had I started when I was younger, I would have had a gold medal, that type of attitude. Now I'm so glad that I don't think like that anymore
Yeah.
because it really did make it frustrating. I was mad at myself a lot, and eventually I just got over that. What about you? You come from a different perspective, I'm sure.
I have so many things I could say on this topic, and it'd be a whole, we could maybe continue this into
Yeah,
the next episode, but I had a really hard time not returning to what I was before.
yeah,
And that was for a few different reasons. I was always very hard on myself. I would never end a session on a fall. I would drill. But once I came back, I had obviously had children. I had a different body. I was heavier. I was like, what are these when I'm rotating? I wasn't just as aerodynamic as I used to be. So in the beginning, I was just jumping, spinning, trying to get my technique back because I was a technical powerhouse skater, not so much an artistic skater. I was never balletic, I was never flexible. All of those things didn't come naturally to me, but I was powerful. So I went back to what I knew. I knew spins and jumps and power.
yeah.
It was very humbling because I ate a lot of ice in my face. I was trying to do a camel spin in a lesson. They were like, okay, do a camel spin. And I was like, I can. She goes, is it because your blades need to be sharpened? I was like, no, I just can't. I was terrified to do what I could do in my sleep before. I have told this to other skaters, other adult skaters, as advice. In giving this advice, I'm trying to give that advice to myself. Don't compare your journey to anyone else's.
Yes, define
Give
your
your
own success.
to give yourself grace, and the best advice I try to give to adult skaters on whatever spectrum they are at, beginner, coming back after being a kid skater, anywhere in between there, is to set small, attainable goals for yourself. What I mean by that is something that is a challenge, but not so far out of reach. Then you can check it off
Yeah,
and feel a sense of satisfaction and accomplishment with your own personal, like you against yourself, not you against the world, not you against the skater that's running circles around you. What are my goals? How can I get there? And just work at it. And then once you check it off, you set the next goal. And in setting those next goals, you eventually look at the progress long term and you're like, wow, I've really made a lot of growth. But how did I get there? It was small, attainable goals. And that's pretty much how I've gotten a lot better since when I started by following that strategy. In the beginning, going with expectations, I was so concerned about what people were thinking about me. They're watching me take all these falls. This is so embarrassing. Or I feel like there's not a lot of other adults here. I feel a little out of place. And now I've just completely let it go
that's
without
awesome.
laughing. Skating's my own little bubble and happy place. And I'm not there to compare myself to
Yeah.
any of the other skaters. I'm just here for me. I can
Mhm.
show up on the ice as my most authentic self, and I know skating will embrace me wherever I'm at. If I'm having a bad day and maybe that day is not a great skate, that's okay. I still am better than when I stepped on the ice. I leave a better person. I leave when my spirit has lifted, it's infused my soul. And even if it's been a hard day, at least I got out there. And
Yeah.
that was the win for the day.
Yeah, I
So
think that it's a huge accomplishment whenever you get off the ice and you're like, wow, I just did that.
I just did that. Yeah.
I always feel that way. Plus, I get a really good work. I release so
Yeah.
many endorphins from skating.
Oh,
I
yeah.
am drenched. I'm drenched in sweat after every skating session, which I because I know that like I actually something good is happening. My body is releasing toxins and also
Stress.
endorphins to help my mood, but also it's exercise, right? I love that skating is, in my opinion, it's the best exercise because it engages the entire body.
Oh, Yes, all your muscles are working.
And it's
Mm.
fun if you do like it. I mean, I happen to love it, but I understand there are some people that don't. They equate it with, oh, I tried, when I was young and I fell and I hurt myself and I never thought I'd ever do it again. And I always say to that, did you have somebody helping? Did you have a coach? Because I don't think that anybody, I don't care who you are, you should just get on skates and get on the ice and just expect this is going to happen naturally. I wouldn't have been able to do that. I had a really good coach in Idaho give me my very first lesson. And had he not told me what to do with my arms and how to bend my knees, I wouldn't have just innately done that. I would have
Yeah.
probably had a very terrible experience and then just decided, nope, not doing that again. I just really love it. It's fun for me. It doesn't feel like I'm exercising, even though I know I am, but I don't feel like
Mhm.
it's fun.
I love when I get off the ice and my cheeks are all red.
They're so red. I
Mm.
like looking like I get in my car and I'm so red and sweaty,
Tomato.
like sweat all over me. I used to take pictures of myself after every skating session and just to see that. I wonder how many calories I burn skating. I'm sure it's a
I
lot.
mean, that would be interesting. How do you track that? Like a Apple Watch or something?
Yeah, I can do that. There was a time where I was skating 5 days a week and I was on the ice for at least an hour a day. There were days where I would go in the morning and in the afternoon. I was on the ice as much as
Um,
2 hours. And that's whenever I got obviously a lot stronger. And then I was away from the ice for a while. And now I'm not skating nearly as much, but I would like to get my endurance back to where it was. For you, you were so trained and for so many years, it probably wasn't nearly as difficult for you to build up your endurance to skating again, where it was pretty challenging for me.
yeah, I think it's all relative, right? When I was a skater in my childhood, I struggled with exercise-induced asthma.
You should say
Yeah.
that. I'm a speech language pathologist. Remember that. I have treated many adult female athletes, very
Mm.
common, who are typically like very competitive go-getters, sometimes perfectionists, and they have exercise-induced asthma. I know that disorder very well. I didn't know you had that.
As a kid, I did,
Oh,
to speak
wow.
to, I wasn't like formally diagnosed, but I was heaving after
Yeah.
doing, yeah, it was hard. My stamina is something I've always struggled with, actually, since I was a kid. But I did an ice show last summer. I've done 3 ice shows since I've come back.
You
To me,
rocked
that's a
the
fun
shows
way.
too.
What's that?
You did such a good job.
Oh,
I
thanks.
watched your performances.
I did a little Beyonce Texas Hold'em hot pink number
Mhm.
cow print last summer. I remember even like a week before that show, I was still f putting the finishing touches because again, you're juggling work
Yeah.
with trying to get ready for a show and you need endurance. It was like a week before that show, and I was like, there's no way I'm going to actually survive this program. I don't
Wow.
have the stamina. And it wasn't
Yeah.
even as long of a program as I did like a long program. It was like
Yeah.
less than that.
I don't think
But
people realize unless you're a skater, even if you're just skating for a minute and a half of a performance, that's actually a long time.
because you're really exerting a lot of energy to do
Mhm.
all of those elements.
Yeah.
And so I was even just watching back a performance the other night, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you can tell I'm so winded by the end there because like my power is just like,
Really fun to do on a future podcast would be to take like maybe 3 or 5 of your performances, watch them, and break them apart in terms of what you think happened. All the performances were fantastic. You did such a good job. But I'm sure as you're watching, you'd be like, okay, that right there, I should have done this or should have done that. And I'm just wondering if you could still learn from looking back at your performance today. Are you able to do that?
I have to take my tapes from when I was a kid and put them onto a USB or something. I would love to show my kids. That's been on my radar for years. I think the tapes are still under my bed. I
Oh,
think
really?
I have a whole storage bin full of VHS from when I was
Wow.
I know I was trying to show you my competition dresses that I still have as
Oh,
well.
yes. That's another
But
podcast.
every dress is like a memory
Yeah.
and it just evokes an emotional something like
Oh,
or
I'm
a
sure I have no
memory.
doubt about that.
But that is on my list to get my childhood tapes from competitions where I can show I really want to show my kids.
Yeah. With those
Yeah.
beautiful dresses that you wear as figure skaters, are they comfortable to wear on
Well,
the ice doing what
yeah,
everything you have to do?
you have to go with your style that is something you can feel good in skating. Some people prefer long sleeves, some people prefer no sleeves. Oftentimes when you're preparing for a competition or performances, you want to practice in the dress. You want to make
Oh
sure
yeah.
you can move in it.
I have noticed quite a few female skaters doing that, yeah.
And because I've noticed one of the things, this is another topic we can cover, the way
Easy.
outfits have changed. When I was a kid, nobody skated in pants. Yes, you skate in leggings. You
I
skate in
know
a
a friend
practice
who's
dress.
actually a very well-known female skater who said, still to this day, she says she doesn't believe that females should wear pants. I know that sounds bad, but when they're skating, it just looks
Yeah.
weird or
When I came back in 2020, I was like, what is all these? They're not wearing their practice dress. It was like, I'm such a 90s
well,
skater kid.
I think that I don't know. It's a again, I don't mean to sound in any way sexist, but I do believe that watching a female skater, I enjoy watching the feminine characteristics. I enjoy the beauty of the female, they just look really nice in the dresses. I think it looks really beautiful and nice.
Yeah.
And I think that, yeah, pants takes away from that a little bit.
Ashley Keene and Tim LeDuc, who went to the Olympics, she always wore for her competition like a long, they had the long legs and the long lines. And so
Yeah,
she
I
had
know who you're talking about.
like the
I
cat
met her
suit,
in San Jose.
you know? And she could pull it off. That was like her signature look.
Sometimes wears pants.
Yeah. And sometimes people might be like, oh, that's more for show skating. To me, it's like whatever you're comfortable in.
Yeah,
I think that the gender rules and roles are changing in the
they're very
sport.
cold though too, wearing the dresses.
Yeah, you have tights, and that helps keep your
Yeah,
legs. But anyways, so we're going off in circles,
yeah,
but I think like overall, I would say to sum it up, I'm sure other listeners could think of additional challenges that come with being an adult figure skater, but I think we covered finding the time in your schedule, ensuring you get a proper warm up in to prevent injury, working around your life responsibilities, whatever that looks like.
yeah,
And one little story I remember recently, I drove to the rink. I swear, I looked online first and I get there and it was like 6 a.m. The parking lot's empty and I'm fully ready to go and skate. It was before work and I was so upset because I had this creative idea in my head that I needed to get out and I didn't want to wait another 5 days. I drove to a further rink and ended up skating for 15 minutes there. That was a challenge and it was going
yeah,
to set my day. I had it in my head the night before that I was going to wake up to go skate and get an early session in. When nobody was there, I was pissed. And then I'm like trying to find what other rink I can go to. And
yeah,
I had to go to work. So I had like literally 15 minutes.
yeah.
And no, I didn't get a proper warm up in, but I skated and I got it. I got my idea out.
We should feel really proud that we're doing something that we love, that's
Yes.
for our mental health and our
Preach.
physical health, and it's only going to help us with our work. If you skate and you're getting that in, it's only going to benefit everything in your life. I don't think we should ever feel bad about taking the time for ourselves to do this. Some people will say, "Oh, it's too expensive," but I could also be spending that money on crack. So I'm choosing to do something that's good for myself, right? Yeah, it's a little bit pricey, but so are gym memberships. So I look at it like that. I feel like it's definitely really worth the price of what I'm paying for it.
Skating is priceless, Derek.
What's that?
Skating is priceless.
Yeah, it is. I love it so much. I think we only have like 6 minutes left on this, so we should probably wrap.
So thank you, listeners,
Listener,
for our challenges of being adult skaters. I think in future episodes, we're going to have some guests on to talk
so many interesting skaters from all over the country,
world,
all
the
over the
world.
world, and it's going to be so exciting. I love that we are so well connected.
We have a few tricks up our sleeve.
Yeah, seriously, I think this was meant to be because these
Derek,
connections keep flowing, and I'm so excited about what is to come with this podcast.
when you
So
said
what you
it's
guys
meant
get
to
out of
be,
this from your own experiences, feel free to leave us a comment or questions about your challenges, and we will get back to you. We promise to reply to everybody's comments or questions as soon as we can. It might not be immediately, but we definitely will. Thank you for watching our,
wait, though you said it's meant to be, and it reminded me of a song. Have you heard
yeah.
the song? If it's meant to be, it'll be, baby, if it's meant to be.
I don't, Lauren, that's the first song you've ever sung to me that I don't recognize.
It's a Florida
Usually we're
Georgia.
very, I don't know that song.
It's a Florida Georgia Line song. It's a country group.
Yeah,
If it's meant to be,
it's meant to be.
you know what was meant to be? Our friendship.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that we have this story. And I think it just goes to show you, you don't actually have to physically meet anybody to feel so connected with them and talk to them every
It's
single
mind
day and
boggling.
have so much in common with them. Learn that you're exactly 10 years apart and
We're
you
both,
finish each other's thoughts.
yes. We're both Leos. We're both empaths. And there's so many other
I know the
similarities we share.
span,
Only met
so many
because of
things.
this beautiful sport, Derek.
Yes. Yes, I'm
Beautiful
so
sport brought us.
grateful that I have you. I'm so grateful that I have skating, and I am so grateful that I have a body that allows me to do it, right? Because it is hard. I was talking to one of the future guests. I won't tell you who this person is, but she is very well known in the skating world. And I was telling her about some of the challenges that I have with my skating boots and some of the different aches and pains and how I was just really getting frustrated with the pain with my boot issue. And she said she had a very interesting take on this. She was like, "What you're doing is allowing these thoughts. You're letting that take over, and that's what's causing you to not pursue, advancing to your next level with skating." In other words, I think she was trying to say that we all are going to have these issues with some type of aches, pains, it just comes along with the territory. But you can't let
Stop it.
that you can't let that take over so that you actually say, okay, I'm not going to skate today because I have this pain. I'm not going to do this because, yeah. And so I thought that was really interesting because I was like, no, this is a real issue that I have. It's a real problem and it is really painful. But yeah, she had a different philosophy on that. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
That she's saying that it's like something that we all have struggles. Get
Well, I
past
think
it.
what she was trying to say was you're using it as an excuse.
Yeah.
I was telling her how I feel like I've plateaued with my skating and I can't seem to get to the next level. I have this issue with my boots, and sometimes skating is not a very pleasurable experience because there's a lot of discomfort with my boot. She acknowledged that there are things you should do about that, but she thought I was putting too much attention. I was really focusing too much on that, and I was allowing that problem to like win, to allow that to not it basically inhibit my progress.
I think that boot issues are a real thing for sure.
I have to say that because yeah, I think so.
You have to feel comfortable in your skates to be your best
Yeah,
skater.
and I'll be
And
honest with you, I'm still struggling with that. That's another problem that I have. I can
yeah.
skate in my skates, obviously, but I have good days and I have bad days with them. I don't know why it's so weird. I did just get new laces, and that was a huge help. Thank you. I'm so glad that I did that because I actually had hockey skate. Don't ever put hockey skate laces in your figure skates. It is not, they're not meant for that, especially if you're a
Yeah.
man. So that's my advice to you there. We have less than 1 minute.
My daughter's coming in with my cat, so I think
Oh,
that's a wrap.
okay.